In 1965, the Hamm's bear was voted the most liked advertisement in America. It was everywhere, dancing through Minnesota's North Woods, splashing in streams, rolling logs, while the jingle rang out. From the land of sky-blue waters comes the beer refreshing Hamm's. Millions knew it. And yet, just 32 years later, the brewery that had once been America's fifth largest was abandoned. Hamm's story began in 1864, St. Paul, Minnesota. Theodore Hamm, a butcher and saloon owner, loaned his life savings to a friend, Andrew Keller, who owned a small brewery perched on the bluffs above Sweet Hollow. Keller went west chasing fortune and never returned. Theodore was left with nothing but a mortgaged beer garden and the deed to a struggling brewery he never wanted. With no choice, he moved his family into the brewery. His wife, Louise, made it work. While Theodore brewed, she managed operations, fed the workers, ran the books, and created a thriving beer garden that welcomed farmers and locals alike. Word spread fast. By 1880, 5 employees had grown into 75, producing 40,000 barrels annually. The brewery expanded to a sprawling 4-acre complex with wagons delivering beer across Minnesota. By 1894, Theodore commissioned architect August Maritzson to design a grand new facility. Ornate, decorative, and impressive, it drew over 10,000 visitors on opening day. In 1896, the Theodore Hamm Brewing Company officially incorporated. Theodore passed in 1903, leaving his son William and grandson William Jr. to run the empire built. From a defaulted loan, generations endured and prospered, surviving everything from wars to kidnappings. Prohibition hit in 1920. Across America, breweries shut down or went bankrupt. But Hamm's never stopped. Renamed Stroh Products Company, it produced soft drinks, syrups, and malt products. But secretly, its near beer was real beer, de-alcoholized. The knowledge, the craft, the equipment, all stayed alive. When Prohibition ended in 1933, Hamm's immediately switched back to full-strength beer, shipping 100,000 cases in hours. While competitors had to relearn brewing, Hamm's simply turned a valve. By the 1950s, Hamm's was booming. The St. Paul complex sprawled across 33 acres, employing 1,300 workers. Families worked there for generations. The brewery wasn't just a job, it was identity. Pay was excellent, benefits rivaled the auto industry, and beer flowed freely for employees. Yet the Hamm family knew regional success wasn't enough. National brands were rising. To compete, Hamm's expanded. The Hamm's bear was born in 1953, an animated symbol of fun and quality. Advertising campaigns reached millions via TV and sports broadcasts, and soon Hamm's was a national name. The company acquired breweries in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Baltimore, and Houston. By 1965, Hamm's was the 5th largest brewery in the U.S. Then came the decision that would unravel everything. On its 100th anniversary, the Hamm family sold the brewery to Highblain, a Connecticut liquor company experienced in vodka, A1 sauce, and shelf-stable products, but inexperienced in beer. Beer, unlike vodka, has a short shelf life. It needs rotation. It ages poorly. Highblain didn't understand. Store managers weren't trained. Bottles sat. Weeks became months. Flavor faded. Loyal customers noticed. The beer tasted wrong. Flat. Sometimes skunky. Cases piled up. Complaints mounted. Sales fell. The root problem, beer spoilage, was invisible to the new owners. Within 8 years, Highblain gave up. The brewery bounced through a series of owners. Desperate distributors, Olympia, Pabst, Stroh. Each attempted to stabilize operations, modernize equipment, or expand markets. But the damage was done. The once mighty national brand was shrinking. Baltimore and Houston were lost. California operations became expensive to maintain. Debt mounted. The industry was consolidating, dominated by Budweiser and Miller. Hamm's, once 5th largest, became too small to compete nationally but too large to be a regional craft brewery. It was stuck, vulnerable, and in decline. Through the 1970s and 1980s, the brewery changed hands multiple times. Each new owner brought hope, invested in equipment, but struggled with rising costs and competition. The iconic St. Paul plant still operated, producing millions of barrels, yet the brand's reputation was gone. Consumers remembered stale beer, and once trusted loyalty vanished. By the mid-1990s, Stroh Brewing, the final owner, was drowning in debt. Despite efficient operations, profitable production, and modernized facilities, the brewery had become just a line item on a balance sheet. Survival meant cutting costs, layoffs, facility closures, divestments. Finally, in 1997, the end came. A meeting called all workers to hear the news. The brewery was closing. The conveyor belts, bottling lines, and furnaces, the heartbeat of a 137-year-old industry, went silent. Workers left with memories, not machines. Desks remained cluttered, calendars frozen, equipment idle. A century of brewing, of family legacy, of community, ended, not by war, prohibition, or fire, but by mismanagement and ignorance. The Hamm family, meanwhile, prospered. United Properties, their real estate venture spun off in 1937, grew into a multi-million-dollar enterprise funding projects across Minnesota. The family secured their wealth for generations, but the brewery, the Brewery, living, breathing symbol of their heritage, was lost. Even today, some former customers and workers buy Hamm's beer out of loyalty, knowing it's no longer made in the land of sky-blue waters. Taste doesn't matter. They remember what it was, and that memory survives. Hamm's Brewery teaches one simple lesson. Knowledge matters. Craft matters. Even a century of resilience cannot survive a buyer who doesn't understand the product. Beer isn't like vodka. Ignorance destroys what time and tradition have built. Hamm's rise and fall is proof that the greatest threat isn't competition. It's not knowing what you're selling.